What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. NBA. Orlando Magic versus Detroit Pistons, Game 7. This is part of the first round of the NBA playoffs. So the series is tied 3-3. The Magic have a 20.8% chance to win. The Pistons have a 79.1% chance to win. This game is at Detroit. For injuries for the Magic, Isaac's a game time decision and Wagner's out. For the Pistons, Hewer's a game time decision. For stats, the Pistons have more points per game, higher field goal percentage, more rebounds per game, assists per game, blocks per game, and steals per game. These stats are pretty close, so I think home field advantage is going to be a big thing here. So I think the Pistons will beat the Magic to move on to the next round. Toronto Raptors versus Cleveland Cavaliers, Game 7. This is part of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Series is tied 3-3, so whoever wins this will go moves on to the next round. So the Raptors have a 40% chance to win. The Cavs have a 60% chance to win. This game is at Cleveland. For injuries, for the Raptors, Ingram's a game time decision, and Quickly and Hepburn are out. For stats, the Cavs have more points per game, field goal percentage is even. Cavs have more rebounds per game. Raptors have more assists per game. Cavs have more blocks per game, and Raptors have more steals per game. These stats are pretty close, so I think home field advantage is going to be a big thing here. So I think the Cavaliers will beat the Raptors to move on to the next round. College baseball. Mississippi State Bulldogs versus Texas Longhorns. This is game 3 of the series. This series is tied 1-1, so whoever wins game 3 wins the series. So, Mississippi State's 10 nation, 36-11 record. Texas is 4 nation, 34-10 record. This game is at Texas. So I think this could be a really good game. With it being at Texas, I think Texas will beat Mississippi State. Auburn Tigers versus Texas A&M Aggies. This is game 3 of the series. So Auburn won both games 1 and 2, so they clinched the series. So all A&M could do is salvage a win. So Auburn is 8 in nation, 32-13 record. A&M 7 nation, 34-10 record. This is at A&M. With it being at A&M, I think A&M will at least be able to salvage a win. I don't think they're going to get swept, so I think Texas A&M will beat Auburn. Florida Gators versus Oklahoma Sooners. This is Game 3 of the series. The series is tied 1-1, so whoever wins Game 3 will win the series. So Florida's 25 nation, 30-17 record. Oklahoma's 15 nation, 30-15 record. This game is at Oklahoma. I think this could be a really good game. With this being at Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma will beat Florida. Ole Miss Rebels versus Arkansas Razorbacks. This is game 3 of the series, so the series is tied 1-1. So whoever wins game 3 wins the series. So Ole Miss is 17 nation, 32-16 record. Arkansas is 22 nation, 31-17 record. This game is at Arkansas. This could be a really good series. Closely ranked teams. Big SEC matchup. I think with this being at Arkansas, I think Arkansas will beat Ole Miss. MLB. Cincinnati Reds versus Pittsburgh Pirates. The Reds have a 43.7% chance to win. The Pirates have a 56.3% chance to win. This game is at Pittsburgh for starting pitchers. For the Reds, Chase Burns has a career ERA of 3.72, WHIP of 1.23. And for the Pirates, Braxton Ashcraft has a career ERA of 3.04, WHIP of 1.22. So good pitcher for both teams. Not really seeing a difference here. So for injuries, for the Reds, Alex Young's out, Josh DeMounts on 7-day IL, Caleb Ferguson and Nick Lodolo are on 15-day IL, and Eugenio Suarez is on 10-day IL. For the Pirates, Dominic Fletcher, Mike Clevinger are on 7-day IL. Jared Jones, Sean Sullivan, and Aldenier Mosqueda are on 60-day IL. For stats, the Pirates have a higher batting average, more runs, hits. Reds have more home runs. Pirates have a higher on base percentage, slugging percentage. Reds have a higher ERA. They have more walks plus hits per inning pitched. They have more walks. Pirates have more strikeouts. And Reds have a higher opponent batting average. So these stats are pretty close. So I think home field advantage is going to be a big thing here. So I think the Pirates will beat the Reds. Los Angeles Dodgers versus St. Louis Cardinals. The Dodgers have a 65.8% chance to win, and the Cards have a 34.2% chance to win. This game is at St. Louis. For starting pitchers for the Dodgers. Justin Robleski has a career ERA of 4.06, WHIP of 1.21. And for the Cards, Dustin May has a career ERA of 3.98, WHIP of 1.23. So that's a good pitcher for May. Not really good pitching for Robleski. So it's a definite starting pitching advantage for the Cards. So for injuries, for Dodgers, Brock Stewart, Van Casperius, Brustar Gratterall, and Blake Snell are on 15-day IL, and Mookie Betts is on 10-day IL. For the Cards, Matt Pushard is on 15-day IL, and Lars Nootbaar, Ixan Henderson, Victor Santos, and Zach Thompson are on 60-day IL. For stats, the Dodgers have a higher batting average, more runs, hits, home runs, higher on base percentage, slugging percentage. Cards have a higher ERA, and then more walks plus hits per inning pitched. More walks. Dodgers have more strikeouts. Cards have a higher opponent batting average. So yeah, so there's a definite overall pitching advantage for the Dodgers, so that will definitely help there. Like the other ones are relatively close. So I think this, you know, the starting pitching advantage for the Cards that will help. You know, that will help. At least early on, but you know, so it could be a good game. With that, starting pitching is definitely an advantage for the Cards with overall pitch. I guess we can get two relievers. The Dodgers will have the advantage. So that'll be interesting. So other ones are close. So I think home field advantage will help. Didn't help here. So I think the Cardinals will beat the Dodgers. Arizona Diamondbacks versus Chicago Cubs. The Diamondbacks have a 38.3% chance to win. The Cubs have a 61.7% chance to win. This game is at Chicago. For starting pitchers for the Diamondbacks, Merrill Kelly has a career ERA of 3.84, WHIP of 1.21. And for the Cubs, Matthew Boyd has a career ERA of 4.61, WHIP of 1.28. So that's good pitching for Kelly, not really good pitching for Boyd. So it's a definite starting pitching advantage for the Diamondbacks. For injuries, for the Diamondbacks, Carlos Santana and Tyler Locklear on 10-day IL, and Pavin Smith, Christian Minna, and Jordan Lawler are on 6-day IL. For the Cubs, Ethan Roberts, Daniel Palencia, and Jordan Wicks are on 15-day IL. Nico Horner is day-to-day. Jackson Wiggins is 7-day IL. For stats, the Cubs have a higher batting average, more runs, hits, home runs, higher on base percentage, slugging percentage. Diamondbacks have a higher ERA and have more walks plus hits per inning pitched. More walks. Cubs have more strikeouts, and Diamondbacks have a higher opponent batting average. so so it's a definite. Looks like there's a overall pitching advantage for the Cubs. Like which that could definitely affect things like overall pitching. Now, starting pitching, it's definitely an advantage for the Diamondbacks. So early on, Diamondbacks will definitely like have an advantage from the pitching standpoint. Once you get to relievers, that could be maybe where it gets interesting. So with that, I think, but batting all that, that seems to be close. So with that, I think home field advantage will then become a big thing here. So I think the Cubs will beat the Diamondbacks. Cleveland Guardians versus Athletics. The Guardians have a 54.9% chance to win. The A's have a 45.1% chance to win. This game is at Sacramento. Yeah, so for starting pitchers, for the Guardians, Parker Messick has a career ERA of 2.25, WHIP of 1.11. And for the A's, Aaron Savale has a career ERA of 4.11, WHIP of 1.21. So yeah, that's good pitching for like really good pitching for Messick, not really good pitching for Savale. So it's a definite starting pitching advantage for the Guardians. For injuries, for the Guardians, Cooper Ingle is on 7-day IL, Andrew Walters and Sean Armstrong on 15-day IL, Gabriel Arias is on 10-day IL, and Carlos Hernandez is on 60-day IL. For the A's, JJ Goss is on 7-day IL, Jeffrey Springs is day to day, Max Muncy and Denzel Clark are on 10-day IL, and Gunnar Hoglund's on 60-day IL. For stats, the A's have a higher batting average, have more runs, hits, home runs, higher on base percentage, slugging percentage, ERA, more walks plus hits per inning pitched, more walks. Guardians have more strikeouts, and A's have a higher opponent batting average. So these stats are, pretty close. So a lot of this overall stats are close. This So then, home field advantage will help the A's, but with that starting pitching advantage, which is significant, I think the Guardians will beat the Athletics. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.